Just off the Texas coast sits a unique beach town marked with salty vibes and sun-soaked memories. Port Aransas is a place where family traditions unfold naturally, and beauty lies both in island views and the unhurried moments between adventures. One visit, and you'll see why generations of Texans have anchored their traditions to the island life. Start your new favorite family tradition in Port Aransas, Texas. Go to visitportaransas.com and plan your visit to Austin's beach. Picture this. It's a perfect spring day. You and your crew are soaking up the sun, live music in the background, craft beer in your hand, wandering past rows of breweries, local vendors, and food trucks serving up some serious flavor. That's Wild West Brewfest, and it's happening April 11th and 12th in Pflugerville. It's the ultimate craft beer festival run by the Rotary Club of Pflugerville, and every pour gives back, with net profits going to scholarships and local charities. So, head down to the Wild West Brewfest in Pflugerville. Today on CityCast Austin, right now is a hard time to be a Democrat in Texas, especially at the Capitol. So we're talking to Senator Sarah Eckhardt to find out what her vision of success this session would look like. It's Monday, March 31st. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hello, I am here with Senator Sarah Eckhardt, Texas State Senator representing Austin, Texas. Hello. Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Oh, man, I got to admit, I'm excited. We are about a third of the way through the Texas legislative session. What grade would you give the Democrats so far?
Wow. I wouldn't put it on A through F scale. I would just say needs improvement.
That's solid. That's solid. What do you want to see from your colleagues?
What I want to see in myself and collectively among my colleagues, Democrats, but also Republicans, I want to focus our collective attention on the things state government should be delivering to Texans. So I want to focus our attention on healthcare, on education, on the price of housing, on the price of groceries, on what will make us safe, and also focus on getting us out of Texans' bedrooms, boardrooms, examining rooms, classrooms. Texans don't like government up in their snoot.
You're a third-term senator. So tell us what it's like to serve in the Texas Senate right now. How does this year compare to previous years?
Sure. So I've been in public service in a number of different roles, mostly at the local level for about 20 plus years before I came to the Senate. So I haven't been in the Senate that long, but I've been watching the Senate for much longer and watching the Texas legislature for much longer. How it compares is we really have a winner take all session. We're seeing the tyranny of the majority. And so it is looking pretty nasty, brutish, and short.
Man, wow. What would a successful session look like for you?
A successful session, what it would look like for Texans is if the Texas legislature focused on the real stuff, making sure that we expanded access to health care, kept our public education system strong and robust, invested in housing so that we could make it more affordable, made sure that the cost of groceries, whatever the state could do to make the cost of groceries more accessible, made sure that our communities were safe, and that all Texans were fairly treated and treated with dignity. That's what a successful session looks like. But we're not addressing healthcare. We're actually making it worse. We're making access to public education and the quality of public education worse. We're bitching about housing while actually not making any investment in housing and punishing those who are making investments in housing. Groceries, we're not talking about groceries at all. Safety, the response is, y'all go get a gun.
Wow.
And fair treatment is only for certain Texans and not for everybody else.
Now, I have to ask you because I'm a native Austinite and like third, fourth generation Texan. And I definitely get into these moments where I'm like, why am I still here? What is going on? Why don't I leave? And so anytime I meet someone that is actively in these like battles for our state, I ask the same question. What makes you stick to it? What makes you stay here and essentially fight?
So whenever I feel like I just can't handle it anymore, I have two people who I look to. First, I sit under the portrait of Barbara Jordan in the Senate chamber. So
Nice.
Every time I hear that little voice inside my head that starts whining, oh, it's too hard. This isn't worth it. I could just go home and get a massage. I look at Barbara and I hear that bass voice of hers saying, if I could do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And then the other person that I think of is I had a mentor named Shooty Fath, longtime activist in this community. She lived until she was 106. And when I would feel blue, I'd go over and talk to her and she would remind me of her 3-part mantra. She basically said, there's no guarantee that what you do will succeed. The only guarantee is that if you don't do it, you will fail.
Wow. I want to backtrack a little bit and talk a little bit about Barbara Jordan because I'm going to be honest, I don't hear a lot of people have that kind of connection to her memory or have that kind of connection to her. So what does she mean to you?
I actually had the pleasure of knowing Barbara Jordan.
Wow.
And my dad helped draw the district that made it possible for her to win her U.S. congressional seat. Barbara overcame extraordinary odds to practice public service. She had to be a public servant just as surely as a dancer has to dance or a musician has to play music. She overcame just amazing odds in order to be who she truly was to the greatest extent possible. In my mind, there is no greater sin than hiding your light under a basket. And Barbara did not hide her light under a basket.
Right. Oh, man. So, okay, I want to get us back on track. What have you been hearing from your Austin constituents this session?
I've been hearing from my Austin constituents that they are deeply concerned that at the federal and at the state level, we're seeing an authoritarianism that abandons our democratic republic in favor of kleptocracy. And I'll tell you, a few years ago, that would have sounded absurd. But it's an unfortunately normalized discussion. We're seeing our democratic republic principles being dismantled. And when I say it, I want to back up for a minute. Democratic Republican principles, what the hell is that, right? And what that is majority rules, but laws are in place so that the majority can't abuse the minority.
Right.
That the minorities must also be respected. It cannot be a winner take all. And that's what the Constitution's for. That's what our laws are for. That's what the three-legged stool between balancing the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch is for. It's so that we can self-correct if the majority takes too much, gets too grabby. And right now, we're seeing a super grabby majority. In a democratic republic, the people are the power. So whether Republican or Democrat, I'm seeing a growing disenchantment, even among my Republican colleagues, of this winner-take-all suppressive environment. Who feels great about getting up in the morning trying to figure out, how do I hoard wealth and power for a few today? Who feels good about that?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think I've been reading some things along those lines about how there are actually Republicans that are like, this has gone off the rails. This is not what we're supposed to be doing. And that feels good to hear because I grew up with Republican friends. My parents had Republican friends. It was never like this. And now it really does feel like this dark cloud has come in and just divided things in a way that's so hard to get back to.
It is. And I'll tell you, Nikki, it's when people say it's never been this bad, I want to check that. It actually has been this bad. In the last 30 years, things have been pretty good. We've made big strides in progress. Higher educational attainment rates, higher household income, a greater level of diversity, equity, and inclusion, dare I say it, a higher integration with world markets. And these certain robber barons really want to take us back. They want to take us back to a very authoritarian, very paternalistic, I'll say it, a white Christian nationalist position, and which is not at all Christian. The debate on 10 Commandments and prayers in schools was such an eye opener for me. Anyone who's ever read the Constitution knows about separation of church and state, and that it's a balance between free speech and the separation of church and state. These guys, these colleagues of mine, really just don't believe that there should be a separation of church and state at all. And when they talk about church, they're not talking about the Christianity of the prophet Jesus. They're talking about a Christianity that's about control and power and domination.
It's really interesting. So I grew up in church. I don't go so much anymore, but I do have these conversations with my friends about sometimes this rhetoric of like Christianity is ruining everything. And I always have to be like, no, the Christianity that I grew up with, this is not how that works. This would never fly. This is not what is talked about as the supposed to be the like foundation for how you're supposed to treat people and how you're supposed to walk through the world. People that don't know much about Christianity and church think that this is what it is. They think that this is what it is. And I'm like, man, it's really not. It's really not what it is. I don't go to church anymore, but I know what church is like, and it does not look like that. It doesn't look like that. Yeah.
It doesn't. And it's the very reason why the founding fathers insisted on a separation between church and state, because there was an understanding that that the idea of church could be perverted and utilized as a political weapon, which was the most un-Christian thing of all. You know, we had to keep them separate so that church would not pervert democracy and democracy would not pervert church.
Yeah. Hey y'all, Nikki here. I wanted to tell you about something that you need to save the date for. Austin Community Foundation has been a trusted partner in local philanthropy for individuals, families, and businesses looking to do good in Central Texas. And on April 29th, Austin Community Foundation invites you to Austin in Common at ACL Live Moody Theater. Now, this is an event like no other. It's focused on storytelling. emceed by Miles Blockson, the night will feature 4 community leaders who will share their Austin stories. Their diverse experiences of living, working, and raising families right here in Austin. It's a chance to celebrate our togetherness because no matter who you are or where you're from, we all have Austin in common. Sponsorships and tickets are available at austinincommon.org. So get yours today. That's austinincommon.org. So one issue I know is important to you is reproductive health. So I definitely want to talk about that. In 2021, lawmakers banned abortion in Texas, except in extreme cases to save the life of a mother. And since then, we've seen a rise in pregnant women dying. A Republican senator has a bill nicknamed the Life of the Mother Act. Will it address the lack of clarity that we've heard about from doctors in the ban?
All of us are going to vote for that bill. That goes without question. But that bill, all it does is provide some safeguards to doctors. It does not change the fact that we have a near total ban on abortion in Texas. Doctors can still be prosecuted for performing an abortion that is because of rape or incest or fatal fetal anomaly. We're all going to vote for that bill. But don't be BS'd. We are still enslaving women to their reproductive capability.
This feels like one of the heaviest things because it feels like such a obvious regression. I know it didn't happen quickly, but it feels like it happened quickly. Do you think that this is something, I mean, and this might seem like a silly question, but like, are we just going to keep trying to fight that? Are we going to try to keep pushing to get our rights back?
We're going to keep pushing because we're not sure when we will win or whether we will win. The only certainty we have is if we don't keep pushing, we will lose.
And so, okay, now I'm going to ask you a two-part question. What does it mean to you to be a Democrat in the U.S. these days? And what does it mean to be a Democrat in Texas these days?
4 years ago, I might have had a different answer for national versus state, but now I think that it's the same. I think that the state of Texas has been an experiment in authoritarianism that is now being played out on the national level. The Republican Party has been really successful at branding themselves as for the common person. The message has been, people are out to get you. The government's out to get you. Immigrants are out to get you. Women are out to get you. Minorities are coming for your jobs. Immigrants are coming for your women. Wokeness is coming for you to take your stuff. What's really happening is that a handful of robber barons like Trump and Elon Musk, they are busily trying to convince those honest, hardworking Americans that they're with them by wearing baseball caps. They're not with us. They're taking our shit.
Exactly.
It's not immigrants. It's not, elitism. It's robber barons who are taking our stuff.
There is this saying, I'm pretty sure it's from the Bible, but I remember it from a song. It's called "Throw your rock and hide your hand." It's like throwing a rock at someone, clocking them in the forehead, and then being like, did you see that immigrant just throw that rock at you?
He did it.
He did it. It's wild. It's like a train wreck that I'm on and I'm also watching and I can't get off of, and I don't want to get off of because I also feel like this is my state. You can't have it. I go wildly back and forth.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, Nikki, because I feel the same way. This is my state and you can't have it.
You can't have it.
I hear people all day long in the chamber talk about true Texas, and I'm like, I'm true Texas.
Right. You just
what about this part of true Texas?
Exactly. I go back and forth. I'm just like, you are a Black, fat, queer woman. I got to get out of here. And then I'm like, no. This is mine. You cannot have it. You're not going to get me out of here. You're not going to make me leave. You're not going to scare me. It's mine. So Austinites, Democrats, all kinds of people have defended Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza, who some criticize for being soft on crime, and some just love him 10 toes down. So with recent news about the missed deadlines in murder cases that led to the release of some defendants on low bails, what do you want to see for improvement? Whether it's for District Attorney Garza, whether it's for Travis County, period, what do you want to see for improvement?
I've said this for years. It's been my mantra with regard to public service, that every policy and every practice in government needs to be effective, efficient, and fair. And it has to be all three. And I think that practices inside the district attorney's office are very fair, but they are struggling with efficiency and effectiveness.
Yeah.
And when you are struggling with efficiency and effectiveness, it impacts speedy trial. And speedy trial is really important for people who are guilty and are dangerous, and even more important for people who are not guilty or not dangerous.
Yes, that's exactly
and so
right.
I want to work with our entire system, possibly bring in the University of Texas Criminal Defense Clinic as well, to take a look at the past year, a finite number of cases in the last year, and look at why we're missing deadlines and how we could get more effective and efficient.
I like that. I like the idea of bringing an outside kind of like perspective in to just get an unbiased view of like, okay, here's where we see needs improvement and here's how we think we should improve. I like that.
I'm looking for constructive ways. I loved being a county judge. I miss it in some ways. And so I think after 20 years of working with this system, I've got a pretty good perspective and can be helpful. So I want to be helpful.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Now, another thing I want to ask you is I feel like the first time that, President Trump was in office, I felt it in Austin a little. I felt a shift a little, but felt pretty, I don't know why. I mean, maybe it was just that I was in my own bubble. It felt manageable to me. I was like, oh, I can see how I can help. I can see how I can show up. I can see how I can resist. It was very clear paths towards maintaining democracy, right? Now it feels so dire. So I'm curious, how are you seeing Trumpism playing out here in Austin right now? Because from my lens, it feels like for the first time, I'm starting to see it in practice. And I don't know if I just like blocked it out of my mind before, but now I'm starting to just like see it in everyday life. How are you seeing it play out in Austin? Or are you seeing it play out in Austin?
I'm absolutely seeing it play out in Austin. I agree with you. That first Trump administration, we thought, oh, well, this is a one-off. This is an anomaly.
Yes. Yes.
This guy's going to be gone in 4 years and we're going to be so relieved.
Yes.
But now he's back. He learned from his first term how to get in there and just overawe the system with a wrecking ball. And that wrecking ball is having real effects on Travis County. Federal workers who live in Travis County have been fired, a lot of them. We're seeing effects on veterans services. Yep. We're seeing effects on transportation funding. We're seeing effects on environmental safeguards, in education policy. And so my advice to people is choose an issue area, choose one and dig deep. Start working today where you are on the thing that is most important to you. And if it means that you have to put on some blinders to some of the other issues so that you can focus, don't feel bad about that. Wherever you have expertise and passion, focus there because it's going to come fast and furious. It is coming fast and furious. And the chaos is a strategy. So focus. Refuse to be overwhelmed.
Oh, man. I needed to hear that. You're right. We would be much more effective if we picked one thing and then just went hard, like just gave it 110% and really got into it. So that's a really good reminder. It's a really, really good reminder.
So, Nikki, I'm going to hit you with a ball from left field.
Yes.
I recently read a quote from Ayn Rand, who is, I'm not a great lover of Ayn Rand, except for her novels. Love her novels. But she remarked that the most important minority is the individual. And I love that quote because the surest way to undermine the individual is to convince the individual that we have no ability to direct our own attention.
Oh, man.
And so the most subversive thing that we can do and the most impact is to refuse to have our attention directed for us. You control your own attention. So you direct it where it is most important and where you can have the biggest impact. Don't let anyone else direct your attention. That is a kind of slavery. Throw off those bonds.
Oh my God. I am rarely at a loss for words, as you can probably tell. I love that.
You are the master of your attention. Do not let them take it.
Yeah, because that is exactly what they're doing. It feels like constantly this game of cat and mouse where they're just like dangling something in front of you. It's like, look at this, we have this thing happening. Don't pay attention to any of this other stuff. You're right. They're trying to overwhelm us and it's working. For a lot of people, it's working. Mm-hmm. because we can't pick anything. Senator Eckhart, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thanks so much, Nikki.
That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. Also, I interviewed my first senator, y'all. You can find links to Senator Eckhart's website and social media in our show notes. And if you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.